All Renegades of Puck to the trenches. It's time for Renegades of Puck TV. Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the essence of No Half Steppin'. I'm your host and Captain Crazy Charlie Saunier, and before we get started on the No Half Steppin' playoff hockey coverage, let me direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you'll learn the access points and all the information about the Renegades of Puck, and then you'll be able to click on that merchandise link, and right there, you'll find the classic logo t-shirt, the Pride logo t-shirt, all of our special event t-shirts from over the years and all of our big parties, and then the gimmicks that we're so famous for. Socks, throw pillows, wall art, bed sets. Makes no difference to the Renegades of Puck. If it exists, we've attempted to put our logo on it and sell it to you. After all, we've sold out so that you can buy in. We sure would appreciate some help over on social media, and we have a whole lot of ways that you can consume the essence of No Half Steppin' now. So please listen to the following menu of options. Please give us a subscription on YouTube. That's where you can watch the newest and latest episodes of Renegades of Puck TV. Once you are done with looking at that, you can check out the podcast version, and that is available in a myriad of platforms. Basically, anywhere that you can find a podcast, you can now find the Renegades of Puck. We've been doing an incredible amount of work behind the scenes to make sure that we're getting platformed across the universe. So whether you are on Apple or Spotify or Stitcher, it makes no difference. You will be able to find the Renegades of Puck podcast. Just search Renegades of Puck on your favorite podcast streaming site. You can also help us out on social media. We are on all of the different platforms. We're on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, and we are even on TikTok. So make sure you are interacting with the Renegades of Puck on social media and helping us spread those links around today. It doesn't cost you a penny. It only takes but a second, but it sure does help our organization a long way. Please become a partner of the Renegades of Puck by going to Venmo. There, you can just search out Renegades of Puck, or you can scan the QR code that's currently on your screen. Every dollar donated to the Renegades of Puck helps us make upgrades and helps us plan our next big event. The summer of No Half Steppin' is upon us, and we've got a lot of big ambitions. So whether you can donate $1 or a little bit more, it goes a long way to help us out. Check out the new sound. Check out the new gear we've added to the bunker. Go back and look at the pictures from back in October and see how many improvements we've made here thanks to your incredible generosity. Stick taps, love, and respect to each and every one of our partners out there, especially you, the mysterious benefactor who I cannot name here on the show. It means a lot to me to have you watching the show and supporting us the way that you do. Now, I know that you're here for the No Half Steppin' hockey coverage, so let's get to it. It is time for operation number 657. That's right, show number 657 for the Renegades of Puck. Now, 11 years of National Hockey League playoff coverage coming out of the Nashville area, and let's start right there with the NHL playoff bracket. Now, it's been a couple of days since we've been on the air because the Milwaukee Admirals had a couple of days between their games in their series. We'll get to that topic here coming up extensively in a couple of moments, but let me take you around the NHL bracket just to get you caught up on everything that you've missed in the last couple of days. Let's take you back to the last time that we were on the air, and that was on Monday. We saw Tampa Bay defeat Florida 2-0 at home. Tampa Bay sweeps the series. Vasilevsky 49 saves, and he was impenetrable for the entirety of that game. It was clear that Tampa Bay was going to win that game. All they had to do was score one goal. Vasilevsky is playing at the top level, and that's saying a lot for a guy who's already won 2 Stanley Cups. The Colorado Avalanche defeated the St. Louis Blues 6-3 to take a 3-1 lead in that series. It was Nazem Kadri with 3 goals in that game. That series would continue. Colorado with a 3-1 lead in that series. Now we go on to Tuesday night. The New York Rangers looking to even up the series against the Carolina Hurricanes, and they did so. 4-1 was the final score. Cop trade deadline acquisition, a goal and 2 assists. Also Frank Vetrano, a goal and an assist. The New York Rangers are heating up at just the right time. They are a different animal when they play at Madison Square Garden. They will definitely have to overcome the road difficulties going into Carolina for Game 5. That series now tied up at 2 apiece. But with Igor Shesterkin playing as good as he is, and with the top-end players of the New York Rangers heating up at just the right moment, I have no idea how that best of 3 will play out going forward, but I am very much looking forward to sitting down and watching Game 5. Edmonton defeated Calgary 5-3 and now holds a 3-1 lead in that series. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 2 goals. Edmonton led 3-0 after the first period, gave 3 back, and then in the third period, they get out of this thing in regulation. So Edmonton holds a 3-1 series in the Battle of Alberta, now winning 3 consecutive games in that series. Take you to last night, and it was St. Louis surviving with their backs against the wall in Colorado, 5-4 was your final in overtime. Colorado still leads the series 3-2. McKinnon, 3 goals and assists, and one of those goals is just absolutely one of the sickest you're going to see. End-to-end rush with an absolute tremendous finish, but it was not enough because Bozak's overtime game-winning goal gives the St. Louis Blues an opportunity to come back and try to tie the series up at 3 apiece in Game 6 on Friday night. Now, Thursday, which is tonight, Carolina will be facing off against the New York Rangers. That series tied up at 2 apiece, and Calgary will be facing off against the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers lead 3-1 in that series, so one potential elimination tonight on the ice. And the New York Rangers, Carolina Hurricanes start a best of 3 with Carolina having the home ice advantage. Now, the one really bizarre caveat to this series and for the Carolina Hurricanes at large in the playoffs is the Carolina Hurricanes have now lost every single one of their road playoff games, and they have won every single one of their home playoff games. It's kind of strange when I start talking about the Milwaukee Admirals in just a moment. You're going to recognize a similar pattern and a similar theme. Now, Game 6 for St. Louis, Colorado, that will take place on Friday night. So we will only have one game as the Tampa Bay Lightning have moved on. They await the winner of the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes, and we still have 2 series going on in the Western Conference, but we should have elimination scenarios coming up very quickly for both of us, and that gets you caught up on everything that's going around the NHL playoff bracket. No Predators news at this time. If you are looking for Nashville Predators news, on the last couple of episodes, we've gone back and done a full season autopsy, and we've also had each and every one of the Renegades of Puck talk about the postseason press conferences, give their opinions on David Poile and John Hines, the future of this franchise, what players need to be brought in, and what potential backup goaltender could be brought in if Connor Ingram is not the answer for the Nashville Predators next year. You can find that going back on our YouTube page in the previous couple of episodes. Now, let's get into the Milwaukee Admirals, who are trying to stave off elimination in their best of 5 series against the Chicago Wolves after going on the road and just getting absolutely beaten into submission in the first 2 games by the Chicago Wolves. We are going into Game 3. That full game recap, of course, presented by Rebirth Sports. You can find Rebirth Sports at rebirthsports.com. You can check them out on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, and also on Instagram, where you see the jersey that I'm wearing right here. This is the Renegades of Puck home jersey. You've seen the road jersey, even the third jersey that we have had created by Rebirth Sports. They take visions and they make them realities, and they're incredible people, incredible partners, and I absolutely love having them as part of the show right here. Wherever I go, wherever I skate, somebody always asks me where I got the threads that I'm wearing, and it's Rebirth Sports. With the Mighty Drunks as I'm winning Stanley Kegs, or in tournament play for charity events like the Wish Cup, or on Lake Nokomis for the United States Pond Hockey Championships. Everywhere I go, I wear Rebirth Sports. They make an incredible product, and I look great everywhere it is that I'm skating. Rebirth Sports, check them out, rebirthsports.com. Now, let's go and check out that Game 3 recap. We go all the way back to May the 25th of the year 2022, and the Milwaukee Admirals were at home facing off against Chicago Wolves in Game 3. Wolves lead the series best of 5, 2 games to 0. Grimaldi, Glass, and Schneider would make up your first line. Smith, Huntington, and Burke your second line for the Milwaukee Admirals. Labate, Parsinen, and Afanasyev, McLean, Knott, and Olivier make up your fourth line. Davies and Blugis, McLaughlin and Willsby, Delgado, and Donovan make up your defensive pairings. And Cooley, on his birthday, getting the start in Game 3 over Connor Ingram. Let's face it, Connor Ingram got lit up pretty badly in the first 2 games of the series. I had speculated that Cooley could get the start based on his relief appearances. He had been very solid against the Wolves, and he was very solid in the early games against the Manitoba Moose in the previous round. So let's get into that game, and let's talk about it. It was Cooley's birthday, and he gets the start just 32 seconds into the game. He's coming with a save on Polarowski, his first shot of the game. A scrum after the whistle showing you the Admirals are ready to engage. We're 1:44 in the first period, and Grimaldi's got a partial breakaway and has to be stopped by Lyon. First shot on goal for the Milwaukee Admirals. 5:48. Cooley comes over the save on Polarowski, plus the rebound follow-up jam. 6:18. McLean's off to the box. 2 minutes for interference in the offensive zone behind the play. Cooley has to come out with a huge save on Nason on the doorstep, but the PK for the Admirals is able to take care of the business. 8:47. Matthias is off to the box. 2 minutes for tripping. Lyon comes up with a save on Grimaldi, then comes up with another save on Parsinen. At 11:21, Drury's off to the box. 2 minutes for Puck over the glass. The Chicago Wolves penalty kill is very good at this. They are denying zone entries. They are clogging up passing lanes and simply just remaining calm and not panicking at all. They are able to kill off this power play very easily. It's 16-34. Afanaseyev is off to the box. 2 minutes for tripping. Milwaukee's penalty kill now getting an opportunity to show off, and they are really strong, not giving up a single shot on goal against. At 18:49, Lyon comes up with a save on glass off of the rush. 19:48, Lyon comes up with a save on Olivier, and we hit the end of the first period with Chicago out shooting Milwaukee 11-8. We hit the start of the second period on a clean sheet, and we're a minute and 40 in. Lyons coming up with a save on Smith's partial breakaway, starting much like we did in the first period. 4:17 of the second period. Ladny is off to the box, 2 minutes for hooking. Lyon comes up with a save on Grimaldi, and then Rocco Grimaldi would not be denied as he gets another scoring opportunity, puts the puck in the net. It was a perfect setup by Glass at the low left circle. This pass from the slot over to the left circle was absolutely world-class distribution. Milwaukee holds a 1-0 lead over the Chicago Wolves on home ice. First time they have had a lead in the series, and we are in Game 3 of the second period now. Rocco Grimaldi's first goal of the playoffs. 8:37 of the second period. Cooley comes up with a save on Chatfield. 8:56. Cooley comes up with a save on Fitzgerald, plus Smith's follow-up, plus Podorowski's jam. Chicago now just pouring on the shots, and it is 13 shots on goal in 11 minutes, but they would not be done because then we see 12:29. Cole Smith is off the box, 2 minutes for slashing, and this puts Cooley in a situation where he has to come up with a number of saves. A save on Smith sliding to the back post would be the highlight reel save probably of the entire game here on this PK. Just an incredible 5-star save. We always talk about UC Soros with the parent club Nashville and the incredible edge work. Well, Devin Cooley absolutely put the same type of edge work on display on the save to get back there to the back post and come up with the save. 15:31. Noson's off the box, 2 minutes for goalie interference. They figured they couldn't get one past Devin Cooley, so they just went ahead and plowed him over. He still kept the player out of the net, though. That's how good Cooley was in this game. We see Cole Smith scoring for the Milwaukee Admirals at this point, his third goal of the playoffs. It was a tap-in off of another perfect piece of distribution from Glass. Now Milwaukee leads Chicago 2-0. 16:31 of the second period. Lyon comes up with a save on Parson and wrap around chance. Big body scoring opportunity right here. As a matter of fact, for just a second, I thought that puck might have snuck into the net. We hit the end of the second period, and this second period was all about Devin Cooley, as now Chicago has 32 shots on goal and Milwaukee has 19. So they went from 11 to 32 in 20 minutes of play. We go into the third period, and it is the Admirals holding a 2-goal lead, but just 9 seconds into the third period, Drury's 5th goal of the playoffs after a sick feed from Levo behind the net to a crashing Drury down the slot. Milwaukee's lead now is 2-1 over the Chicago Wolves. Things getting a little bit more tense. 1:51. Panoramov's off to the box, 2 minutes for slashing. Schneider picks up his third goal of the playoffs. It was a rebound put back off of Glass's long shot. So Glass picks up his third assist of the game. Milwaukee now has a 3-1 lead over Chicago at 5:41. Burke's fourth of the playoffs gives the Admirals a little bit of insurance. A redirect off of Cole Smith's shot from the half wall, and a sweet redirect it was. Milwaukee now leads 4-1 over the Chicago Wolves. 7:21 of the third period. Off in the say-offs off the box, 2 minutes for slashing. The PK bends, but it does not break. At 10:29, we see Willsby off the box, 2 minutes for tripping. Blue just comes up with an incredibly strong penalty kill shift. Strong pressure by Chicago throughout the power play, but they are unable to score. At 14:44, though, Levo does score his third goal of the playoffs. It was a long shot through tons of heavy traffic, making the score now 4-2, still in favor of the Milwaukee Admirals. 17:05, Cooley comes up with a save on Levo, plus Podorowski's jam attempt. 17:53, Kane's off to the box, 2 minutes for slashing. 19:33, Cole Smith's off to the box, 2 minutes for slashing. We hit the final buzzer with Milwaukee Admirals surviving in the series, winning this game 4-2. They were outshot 49-25. We did see after the final buzzer a lengthy post-game scrum, but it did not lead to anything significant. It just got to a point where the refs had to tell everybody to get the hell off the ice. We do have a series to continue moving on with. So there were no handshakes after Game 3 in Milwaukee, and they'll have an opportunity now on Friday night to even the series up at 2-2 and go back to Chicago before Game 5 on Sunday afternoon. They've got to take care of business on home ice, as they have been able to do throughout the Calder Cup playoffs. We'll cover that in the full analysis coming up here in just a couple of moments. You gave us 10 minutes. We gave you the entire game. Now give us 10 more minutes. We'll give you all the analysis, information, and stats from the game. We appreciate each and every one of you jumping in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. We'll be back in just a second with full game analysis. All right, before we get into the full game analysis of the Milwaukee Admirals' huge victory in Game 3 over the Chicago Wolves, let's go around the AHL playoff bracket and get you caught up on everything that's going on in the other series around the playoffs. Of course, you know the Chicago Wolves are leading 2-1 over the Milwaukee Admirals. It was 6-2 in favor of the Wolves and 8-2 in favor of the Wolves in Games 1 and 2, and now 4-2 in favor of Milwaukee in Game 3, Friday, Sunday, Game 4, and potentially Game 5. In the bottom half of that bracket, we see Stockton leading Colorado 2-0. It was a 5-0 victory and then a 1-0 victory for Stockton. And now Friday will be Game 3. And since they haven't scored a goal yet in this series, I'm not going to even tell you that Game 4 is going to be necessary, because I think Stockton is going to head and finish off the sweep over Colorado, outscoring them 6-0 in 2 games so far. On the other side of the bracket, Charlotte and Springfield. You see Springfield holding a 2-0 lead, a 6-0 victory in Game 1, then a 4-3 victory in Game 2. They'll get back on the ice for Game 3 on Saturday. If necessary, Game 4 will take place on Sunday. Dustin Wolf for Springfield, now 5-0 in the Calder Cup playoffs, .951 save percentage and a 1.40 goals against average. That leads everyone in the playoffs at this point in time. Goaltender stats I didn't mention from the other side of the bracket for the Chicago Wolves. Lyon takes his first loss of the playoffs in that most recent Game 3 against Milwaukee Admirals. 5-1 on the playoff season, .924 save percentage, 2.02 goals against average. And remember, because of the injury problems happening with the Carolina Hurricanes, the Chicago Wolves parent team, everything has had a domino effect. Lyon wasn't even supposed to be the main starter in this series or in this Calder Cup playoff run. He has been performing at an incredible level. One other series to talk about, and it's already come to an end. Laval and Rochester finished up last night. Incredible. 6-5, triple overtime game. Laval with the sweep, 6-1, 3-1, and 6-5 in 3 overtime. So they have already moved on to the semifinals of the Calder Cup playoffs. So we will see soon Laval facing off against the winner of Charlotte and Springfield, and then we will see the winner of the Chicago-Milwaukee series face off against the winner of the Stockton-Colorado series. We are getting closer and closer to the Calder Cup final series. A couple of quick notes from the AHL playoffs. All 4 home teams won the first 2 games in this round. Just thought that was a bit of a statistical anomaly, and so far the Admirals are the only team that's been able to force a Game 4, with the other 2 series yet to play their Game 3. And just a couple of stats from around the playoffs. Samanos from Springfield, 4 goals, 9 assists, 13 points. That leads all skaters at this time. And Ruotsalainen from Rochester, 8 goals, leads all skaters this time. He has 12 points in total. And I gave you a couple of the goaltenders' numbers. That was presented to you by Strong Style Fitness, an incredible partner here of the show. Strong Style Fitness is a certified personal trainer that has over 150 workouts now, all set up for you on demand and completely ready to go whenever it is that you are ready to get that workout in. Whether it's your first stretch or you're ready to throw iron like a pro, Tracy over at Strong Style Fit has a workout that has already been crafted and created for you. She talks you through the intro, lets you know what equipment you're going to need, and then sticks around and helps train with you the entire time. I am telling you, Renegades of Puck, there are no other personal trainers on the planet that are so confident in their work that they're willing to make 150 of their workouts completely free for you. Now, there is the option to donate, so once you're starting to see those results, and I know that you will, go ahead and send a small donation over to Strong Style Fit. Also, give them some likes, give them some loves on their social media accounts. You can find them Instagram and also on Facebook and Twitter, and you can visit the website strongstylefit.com. Again, that's Strong Style Fitness, incredible partner here of the Renegades of Puck. New workout videos coming soon, especially catered for you, Renegades of Puck. Let's talk about Devin Cooley. This was his day. After all, it was his birthday. Another trip around the sun. He gets an opportunity to start a playoff game for his Milwaukee Admirals, and what an incredible performance he puts in. 47 out of 49 for the game, 21 of 21 in the second period. period alone, he was under siege and coming up with some absolutely incredible saves. He'll have a highlight reel save from this game, sliding across, getting to the back post and getting the toe there just in time, and a couple of others that may last a lifetime. Now, Devin Cooley has not gotten a lot of talk because Connor Ingram, coming back from the Nashville Predators, was just an assumption that he would take over as the starter, and he did, but he has not performed like a starter. You needed a goaltender that was going to steal a game, and Devin Cooley did that last night, facing 49 shots, stopping 47 of them, and a lot of them were from high danger areas. Now, Cooley in the playoffs is 3-1, has a .935 save percentage, and a 2.72 goals against average. That works out to 187 shots, 187 out of 200 when it comes to shots against and saves. So for Devin Cooley, there is no doubt that he is going to be the starter in Game 4. He's been highly impressive in relief, and this start was absolutely incredible. Great job by Devin Cooley. Happy birthday to Devin Cooley, and I hope he can come up with something similar to that in Game 4, because the Chicago Wolves are a damn good hockey team, and it's going to take another big performance, maybe two more big performances in goal from Devin Cooley in order to get the Milwaukee Admirals into the next round. Cody Glass, 3 assists in this game, world-class distribution service. That is a term I only use for a player that is passing at the highest level. Some of the setups he had in this game were just absolutely unbelievable. Otherworldly vision and passing, and they were all placed in just the perfect position, and it wasn't the same play just over and over again. It was slick. He was looking good out there and playing some incredible hockey. I can see why he's going to be making a run to be full-time on the Nashville Predators next year. For Rocco Grimaldi, coming back from an injury, you've all read the social media posts about how disappointed he was in the injury and how happy he is to get his second chance coming back from the injury. Scoring that goal last night, setting the tone is what he did, scoring the first goal of the game for the Milwaukee Admirals. I hope it's just the beginning of many to come for the remainder of his time in the playoffs. I've enjoyed covering him here in Nashville. I've certainly enjoyed watching his hockey. Rocco Grimaldi is a bit of a cult figure and fan favorite everywhere he goes. He may be undersized, but he is extremely determined, and he goes out there and gives you a no-half-step performance. He certainly was doing that. He scored that first goal, and it set the tone. And for the Admirals, that just led to them being a totally different animal. And on home ice, they are a beast of a team. Now, that is not anywhere near the shell of a team that we saw in games 1 and 2 in Chicago. The team that we saw in Milwaukee last night made it look like they can compete with the Chicago Wolves when it certainly seemed like they could not at all at any point in time in the first couple of games. Let me give you a couple of numbers just to back up what I mean about how the Admirals are such a beast at home. They're 3-0 in the Calder Cup playoffs, and they have a goal differential of +4, or how that number works out is 9 goals for, 5 goals against. Now, on the road, well, I mean, you've been watching the show, so you know the scores have been kind of lopsided. Well, they're 1-4. Yes, the road win they had was Game 5, the most important road game and the only significant road game that they have played since they managed to advance out of that round. They were able to win that Game 5, but they have a -16 goal differential in these 5 road games. They've given up 27 goals against, and some of them are just simply unforgivable soft goals. Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. The goal from nearly center ice against Connor Ingram at the end of the second period. Just so deflating. So for the Milwaukee Admirals, they have an opportunity now to play the next game at home and extend the series into a Game 5 where they have had at least some success on the road. So far, in Game 5s, they're 1-0. The rest of the time, not so great. So for the Milwaukee Admirals, they just have to continue doing what they did in Game 3, come out and tie the series up. And for Chicago, this is their first loss of the playoffs. They absolutely barnstormed Rockford, and they had done the same to the Milwaukee Admirals in Games 1 and 2. This is the first time they've actually faced adversity. Now, when you take a look at smaller examples in Games 1 and 2 against the Milwaukee Admirals, the only time the Chicago Wolves faced any adversity were when the Admirals tied a game up, and typically the Wolves would come out on the next shift or within the next couple of minutes and score 1, if not 2 goals. They not only answered and responded, but they counterpunched, and they counterpunched hard. This is the first time in Game 3 that we did not see the Chicago Wolves be able to counterpunch as the Milwaukee Admirals continued adding to their lead in the third period. The Wolves were certainly getting their opportunities and getting their shots, but they were not able to take the momentum back and then push it in favor and tilt the ice in their favor. So how will Chicago respond now? They've had a pretty easy path up until this point. I expect they're going to be ready to go in Game 4, and they're going to be highly competitive, and we could see some of our best playoff action at this point. Now, I have talked about the Milwaukee Admirals, and I've talked about Game 3 extensively, but I have not even begun to do the job and the expertise that Rachel K from ontheforecheck.com has. She's been in the tape room. She watched the game last night. She broke it down again this morning, and she's got a report for me and a preview of Game 4. So she's going to take a look back at Game 3, take a look ahead at Game 4 from ontheforecheck.com. She is an invaluable resource here in the trenches to the Renegades of Puck. She is the one and only Rachel K.
I tell you what, I'm going to keep this on voice only because you guys don't want to see what my house looks like. We're packing for vacation, and it's a small disaster. It also features my dogs, and they're pretty wet. It's raining here in Nashville. Y'all don't want to see some wet dogs. Let's get down to it. Remember what I said about making sure you don't cat the Admirals out? This is exactly why I said that. I am so proud of my boys in blue this morning, and I'll tell you why. First off, being back at home is absolutely huge for our Admirals. The home fans are excited and proud, and they're some of the best AHL fans around. I know this for a fact. Milwaukee was loud last night, and that was for a good reason. Don't forget, the road to Nashville goes through Milwaukee. Yesterday, Coach Carl Taylor reminded us that the Admirals have faced adversity in many forms this season. There's been injuries, recalls, and trades, but the Admirals have pushed their way forward with the leadership of guys like Cole Schneider, Cole Smith, Matt Tennyson, and Matt Donovan. Having Devin Cooley in net last night seemed to do the trick. Cooley was excellent and out on an absolute clinic in net. The Wolves couldn't solve him, and the Admirals defended very well in front of Cooley. Some of the best defense I've seen all season came from him last night. We can for sure praise the goal scorers, too. They were fast and slick all night, solving Wolves goalie Alex Lyon 4 times. 4 times! That's more than they put up in the first 2 games combined. However, we have to talk about the big game Cody Glass played. He was an assist machine, playing with top confidence. That's what we traded for. The Admirals will need more of this from him. Braden Burke, Cole Schneider, Cole Smith, and Rocco Grimaldi notched goals. 3 of those goals were assisted by Glass himself. That's the Cody Glass we want to see in Nashville next season. To sum it up, I want another big game from Cody Glass and Devin Cooley on Friday. I look forward to tying this series up, Captain, and we're going to force that huge Game 5. Remember, Cap, the Wolves were expected to sweep their way to a Calder Cup final appearance. Sink 'em. Back to you, Skipper.
From ontheforecheck.com, that's Rachel K. I sure do appreciate having Rachel K in the trenches to help us cover Milwaukee Admirals hockey. She is the authority when it comes to that topic here in the Nashville area. So I am so thankful to have her in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. Again, from ontheforecheck.com. An incredible partner of the show is Stripe Digital Solutions. None of this could happen without the support and partnership of Stripe Digital Solutions. Let me take you through just a couple of examples. You see the logo on the wall behind me. You see the crest on the jersey that I am wearing. Those are just 2 examples of where Stripe Digital Solutions has assisted me in moving my brand forward. In today's modern business world, there are too many platforms and too many steps and so many hoops that you have to jump through that if you don't have a good partner to help guide you through the digital wilderness, you simply will not get there. Why would you spend all of that time and money putting in the work if you cannot get your product or your business viewed by customers that you're trying to reach? Stripe Digital Solutions helps me with all of these things and can do the same for you. Please start up a conversation with Brandy by going to stripedigitalsolutions.com or finding her out on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Stripe Digital Solutions is an incredible partner and sure does a lot to help me out behind the scenes. If it wasn't for Stripe Digital Solutions, Renegades of Puck TV, The Bunker, none of it would be possible. Again, help your small business today. Get that conversation going. Appreciate you, Stripe Digital Solutions. Stick taps, love, and respect to you. Let's get on over and talk about some numbers. Let's get into the box score. And yes, this time I am going to read to you from the Milwaukee Admirals box score. There was nothing to read from the last game. What do you want from me? In this game, Cole Smith comes away with a goal. Cole Schneider also with a goal. Braden Burke with another goal. And Rocco Grimaldi, his first goal of the playoffs. Good to see Rocco Grimaldi out there on the ice. In the assist department, Cody Glass, world-class distribution service. Those passes were sick last night, and one of the main reasons Milwaukee Admirals come out on top in this game. Cole Smith also picks up an assist to add to his goal. Cole Schneider picks up an assist to add to his one goal. And Matt Donovan out there on the blue line with 2 assists in this game. Cole Smith led the way with shots on goal with 4. The Admirals did not put up a lot of shots in this game. So to see someone with 4 shots on net, Rocco Grimaldi also had 3 shots on net to go along with his 1 conversion. But the story of the night, the stat of the night, and the most impressive performance of the night is absolutely the birthday boy, Devin Cooley. 47 out of 49 in this game, and he has just been absolutely incredible. 187 out of 200 now in the series, most of that in relief for Connor Ingram at this point. I highly expect Devin Cooley to get the start in Game 4 moving forward. Now, that's the box score, but you know there's so much more besides just the numbers listed in the box score. There's the analytics portion of things, and nobody's better at it than Brian Baston from ontheforecheck.com. He's got the numbers you need to know and the charts you need to see. You can find him on Twitter at Brian Baston, or you can just watch him right now on Renegades of Puck TV. Brian, it's all yours.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. I'm Brian Baston at the Renegades Analytics Desk, and I'd like to thank you, as always, Renegades, for staying in the trenches with us as we follow the AHL playoffs and the Milwaukee Admirals. And speaking of those Admirals, the Predators' AHL affiliate won Game 3 of the Central Division Finals, fending off elimination and forcing a Game 4 on Friday night. So what did the Admirals do right tonight, and how can they repeat that for the next 2 games? Let's take a look with tonight's one big stat. Since this could have been the Admirals' final game of the 2021-22 season, it was obviously a big one, and since the Admirals do live on to fight another day, Friday specifically, let's take a look at a few big stats. Let's start with the 2 best players on the ice tonight. First is Devin Cooley, coming back into the starter's crease after Connor Ingram was chased in Game 1 and 2, saved 47 of 49 shots against tonight. Cooley has not started a game for Milwaukee since Game 3 of the Manitoba series, but the birthday boy has proven that he can withstand the high-powered Wolves offense. Since the playoffs started, Cooley has 200 shots against, just giving up just 13 goals with a 93.5 save percentage in nearly 300 minutes of time on ice. The Admirals' defense struggles to limit the quantity of opponent shots, so Cooley, much like he did against the Moose in round 1, has had to stand on his head to withstand the 35 or more shots against in each of his 4 starts. The other major player that had a great night tonight is Cody Glass. Recently returned from the Nashville Predators after their unfortunately brief playoff run, Glass has been the Admirals' best defensive weapon, and tonight was no exception. Glass picked up 3 primary assists tonight, bringing his totals in the playoffs to 1 goal and 4 assists. Glass was outstanding on the Admirals' first 2 goals, displaying excellent puck awareness as he was able to create space for his teammates before connecting on cross-ice passes that opened up Wolves goaltender Alex Lyon. As we've said before, Glass has been playing like this for Milwaukee all season, with 14 goals and 62 points in 66 games. Glass may be the most important player for the Milwaukee this series aside from Cooley, and he'll have to continue his playmaking ways to help his teammates like Rocco Grimaldi and Cole Smith to be more consistent in their scoring. Last, let's talk about the resiliency of this team. The first round series against Manitoba saw Milwaukee give up a 2-0 series lead, needing Game 5 to move on to the next round. This series, however, finds the Admirals on the opposite side of the coin. They'll need to win both Game 4 and Game 5 to extend their playoff hopes. However, despite the opposite outcomes through 3 games, one thing has been consistent. The Admirals are facing high-powered offensive units that can and do shoot a ton of shots on net. Now, the Admirals do a pretty decent job forcing a lot of these shots to the outside, getting lower shot quality and allowing for quantity like that. But game after game, the Admirals have allowed their goaltenders to get peppered all game long, facing 301 shots against in just 8 games. While Devin Cooley has shown that he can lead this team to wins, going 3-1 in the games that he started, players like Glass, Grimaldi, and others have to pitch in more and produce on their own to give Cooley a break. Tonight's second period opening goal by Rocco Grimaldi is the first time this series that the Admirals have scored the opening goal of a game, and that's the third stat we'll talk about tonight. And that not only was Grimaldi's goal the first time they scored on the opening goal of a game, but it's the very first lead of the series, something that took them 144 minutes over 2.5 games since this series started. Milwaukee did not look like the team we saw in the latter half of the Manitoba series and looked miles better than what we've seen versus Chicago so far. The passes were crisp, defensive assignments were covered well, and the special teams was a weapon that gave Milwaukee 2 of their 4 goals tonight. Now, if a lot of this sounds familiar to you Predators fans, you're right. Relying heavily on goaltenders standing on their head and the star forward needing to produce in the playoffs is a familiar theme, something we have experience in the playoffs recently, but the Milwaukee Admirals were able to turn this season around to make these playoffs in the first place. The Admirals and their staff are hungry after COVID ended their AHL best 2019-2020 season without a playoff, and they didn't play last season at all. Remember, the Predators and the Admirals had their players share a roster with these very same Chicago Wolves, so Carl Taylor and the organization know that this is their chance to do something special. And if the Admirals can get tonight's play out of Cooley and Glass, as well as being able to get and maintain an early lead, Game 3 might be the point where it all turns around. And that's tonight's One Big Stat. Charlie?
You can find him on Twitter at Brian Basson. You can check out his work at ontheforecheck.com. He's got the charts that you need to see and the numbers that you need to know, and I sure do appreciate Brian Basson jumping in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck. Now, I'd like to take a moment and introduce you to our newest Renegades of Puck correspondent. You know, we've brought a lot of people into the trenches this year, and our recruiting efforts are always continuing. We are always looking for the best and the brightest, the most passionate, those with opinions, the fire, the fury, you know the speech. Those are the Renegades of Puck that we're looking for out there, and I won't stop bringing more and more Renegades into the trenches until we have the most comprehensive and complete coverage that is possible. That is why I, as the captain of the Renegades of Puck, have reached out to Penalty Box Radio and their captain, Justin Bradford, and we have come up with a content-sharing goodness agreement. That's right. You will now be seeing Boyd from the Predator Way podcast and Penalty Box Radio right here on the Renegades of Puck TV. Very excited about this partnership, and it's only going to make all of our shows that much better. After all, we're trying to do the best shows and the best coverage that we can. We all have unique perspectives, and we all have different presentations. I appreciate each and every one of the Renegades of Puck for taking the time and dedicating their time and effort to helping me put on the best presentation possible. Boyd is another example of how we will be able to compete with any show out there in the universe. Welcome to the trenches, Boyd. I look forward to your reports from the field coming this off-season. Here's his first submission. Please take the time to welcome him, listen, and then send him some feedback. Take it away, my friend. Your first appearance as a Renegade of Puck.
Hey, y'all. It's Boyd Farish from Penalty Box Radio and the Predator Way podcast. Excited to bring my first segment to Renegades of Puck called What's the Big Idea? Now, the last couple seasons, many, myself included, have called for a more purposeful rebuild of the Predators roster and pipeline. Some progress was made to this plan in 2021 by getting younger, cheaper, and more aligned to John Hines' preferred identity. This resulted in elevated roles for young players both up front and defensively, which paid off in dividends for the team overall. But as we just saw, the roster isn't good enough as it's currently constructed to make a deep run. So for the 2022 offseason, that really makes running it back and hoping for a better result not really an acceptable option. In the second line, the combination of Luke Cunnin, Nick Cousins, Ellie Tolvanen, and a young Philip Tomasino really didn't generate enough consistent production for what the team would need from that line to create playoff success and a deeper run. But in truth, the construction of the roster overall is better suited to take a big swing and really try to challenge for cup contention than it is to tear down and rebuild at this point. So let's take a look at why. We just saw what career seasons from the top end players can look like. 40 plus goals, 80 plus, 90 plus points, and a consistent level of production throughout the season. So even while you might not expect a career level season going forward, if those same players, especially Matt Duchene, Philip Forsberg, Roman Josi, Mikael Granlund, and Ryan Johansson, only reach 80 to 90% of that, it's still a very strong level of production from those players. You're still looking at 35 plus goals from Duchene and Forsberg, over 75 points from Roman Josi, and over 55 points for both Granlund and Johansson. When you pull all of those pieces together, that's a pretty solid lineup, especially when combined with the depth that is coming up and the production that the Predators are getting from Trenin, Jeannot, Tomasino, and an ascending Alex Carrier. But as we saw, there is a glaring hole in the top six for another high-producing forward that can help out either Ryan Johansson or Mikael Granlund at 5-on-5. Overall, the Predators were a below average team at generating offensive chances at 5-on-5, which when you get into the playoffs and less penalties are called in general and power plays become more scarce, you really need that 5-on-5 production. And it was at 5-on-5 where really the Predators did not generate much of anything against Colorado. So when you look at the landscape of the 2022 offseason, there are a number of options either available or potentially available that could step into the Predators lineup and really boost what that top six can bring. From the free agent standpoint, Johnny Gaudreau, Claude Giroux, Phil Kessel, more veteran options, but would still bring a level of offensive production to that top six. When you look at the trade landscape, including restricted free agents, you can look at players like Patrick Laine or possibly William Nylander if he becomes more of a scapegoat in Toronto. Now, those players all come at a cost, but the Predators at this point still have a good number of draft picks, and they have a pretty deeply stocked pipeline that can be drawn from to help facilitate such moves. Looking at it from the standpoint of cap space, the Predators have a lot of it, over $24 million. And even if Philip Forsberg does re-sign, they would still have plenty of cap space to chase whatever player or acquire whatever player they might need. And in truth, even if Philip Forsberg decides to move on, that still leaves Nashville the capability to pretty much outbid anybody for a free agent that might be interested in signing in Nashville. So those are sort of the reasons why the team is maybe closer to contention, and maybe some of those moves might make more sense. So what about the rebuild possibility? Well, first and foremost, to facilitate a rebuild, you need to be able to trade veterans and move those contracts out, acquire picks, acquire prospects, and start to build from the bottom up. As of right now, the Predators don't have a lot of trade value among their veteran players. While Matt Duchene and Ryan Johansson certainly took a significant step forward over the past season, they are still on $8 million contracts with term remaining. And there's just not that many teams willing to take on that type of deal, or even able to take on that type of deal with their current cap situation. And as a result, really the only players remaining from among the veterans that have trade value are Mikael Granlund, who would bring back a decent return, but trading just him doesn't facilitate a rebuild, and UC Saros. Now, Saros would bring a significant return, but he is still a relatively young elite-level goaltender, and even if you're facilitating a rebuild, it may not be the best idea to hand the net over immediately to Connor Ingram and then Yaroslav Askarov. So really, the trade value that Nashville has lies within its draft picks and its young players. Same concept being, you don't use those young players to facilitate a rebuild. You want them to have the opportunity to grow. So as it stands today, the Nashville Predators as an organization and as a roster are really in a better place to potentially take a big swing as opposed to going after a rebuild. One other note, even though the salary cap is going up slightly for the next season, many of the teams that the Predators are in contention with, whether it's Colorado, Minnesota, St. Louis, Calgary, Edmonton, are all going to face significant cap constraints just trying to retain the players they already have, much less trying to bring in anyone additional to supplement their own rosters. So Nashville is actually positioned with the amount of cap space that they have and a veteran roster that is improving to really make a leap forward if they can find the right pieces to inject into that top six and really round out that overall offensive game. Now, a rebuild may be on the horizon, but that really may be 2 or 3 years out as the Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene contracts come closer to close and have a better chance of them being moved for assets as opposed to today where the returns would be pretty insignificant compared to what their value probably should be.
From the Predator Way podcast and Penalty Box Radio, again, stick taps, love, and respect to the entire Penalty Box Radio crew and their captain, Justin Bradford, as our content sharing goodness agreement has just had its first installment. I look forward to more crossover promotions and more crossover events coming up on the horizon of hockey coverage. Boyd, great job, man. I sure am happy to have you in the trenches here with the Renegades of Puck. He joins an incredible roster that we already have and we continue building up and adding. Appreciate each and every one of you for taking a little bit of time to check out the Renegades of Puck. No matter how it is you consume the essence of No Half Step, and if you do that on YouTube, or if you do that on Stitcher or Google or Spotify or Amazon or Apple or wherever it is you can consume podcasts, we sure do appreciate you taking the time and supporting independent hockey coverage built by Renegades for Renegades. Now, let me give you a phrase that I always like to use in situations like this. For the Milwaukee Admirals, they're 3-0 on home ice, and they have an opportunity to tie this best-of-5 series up at 2 games apiece. Your backs are against the wall even harder than they were last night. No handshakes on home ice. Your home crowd has come out and supported you all season long. It is time to tie your skates. It is time to take the ice. And it is time to secure a victory in Game 4 and extend on to Game 5. What happens after that? Who knows? But I can know one thing, and I hope that you're guaranteeing one thing amongst yourselves. There will be no handshakes after Game 4 in Milwaukee. That's what No Half Steppin' deserves, and I hope that's what No Half Steppin' delivers. We'll be here in the bunker covering Game 4, recapping it, and previewing everything that's going to happen in the pivotal series-deciding Game 5 on Sunday afternoon. For Rachel K., for Brian Baston, for Boyd, and for each and every one of the Renegades of Puck. Stick taps, love, respect. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier.